I want to learn about the subjects which are taught in MA. That is real desire for education. So when we talk in terms of this, I will tell you this last story and then I'll quickly conclude. Here is a young boy who comes, in those days, olden days, we had the Gurukula system. The student would go to the uh, teacher's house and stay there for many years. So a student comes and tells the teacher that I have come to study. The teacher says, okay, please come and live here. Many days are over. Every day the student says, Master, shall we start studying? The teacher says, not now, not now. The student is getting bored. He says, oh, what is this? I'm not learning anything. I'm just wasting my time. Suddenly one day the teacher says, okay, come, let us both go and have a bath in the water. This is what we do in India. When we start anything or we do something good, we always have a bath. We start by bathing and then doing that good work. So both of them go to the river to have a bath, the teacher and the student. As soon as they reach that place, the teacher pushes the student's head into the water. It catches like this and push down into the water. Now the student gets frightened. He says, what is this, teacher? He has not taught me any lesson. Now he's trying to kill me. He struggles, he keeps moving and keeps moving. Suddenly the teacher releases him and says, how did you feel? He says, oh, I felt as though if I don't get a breath of air, I will die. The teacher asks, do you feel like that about knowledge? Do you feel like that about learning new things? The student has no answer because the student never felt so desperate. The parents said, go to Gurukula, the student came, but the student had no interest. The teacher could make out student had no interest. So the teacher was not teaching. Then the teacher said, the day you feel the same desperation, the same desire like you felt for oxygen, that same desire for knowledge, you will start your course immediately. That means life itself will start teaching you lessons. This we call as learning skill. In many courses, we teach students learning skills. So when a student knows how to learn, that student learns better, and not only while the student is in school or college, but also in life. Many of us never learned how to learn. Therefore, as soon as we finished, we got our degrees, we stopped learning. We became totally illiterate in life. Literate in school, college, because we learned a lot of books, but in life, we are illiterate. We don't know about how to live life. So real excellence in teaching is when we make the student not only proficient in the subject which you teach, but also in life. Life will be a very difficult exam for the student. Therefore, we have to remember that the student, after passing from our hands in school, college, university, etc., or research, that student has to live for another 60, 70 years. At 20, you finish, then you live to be 100. So you have 80 years of life. For 20 years of education, you have to use in 80 years of life. So we have to teach them how to make the best use of their education. And that is not by getting 100% marks, but by being a good human being. And that is what teaching for excellence is. That is why I found that the motto this year is wonderful. When you have a crisis only, you can know how strong you are. Suppose a foreign enemy comes onto our soil, then India becomes united. We are all the time fighting with each other. Suddenly an outsider comes into the family. The entire family is united. The outsider is only objected to. So We have to have a crisis. That is why I told you a crisis is an opportunity. From a crisis, we can get a lot of opportunity to benefit our life. Please remember that look at this crisis, which is a global crisis today, as the best thing that can happen to teachers. I read all articles and all WhatsApp messages saying it is so difficult to do online, it is so difficult to do online, and so on. Yes, it is very difficult. You don't have the students in front of you. You cannot monitor whether people are just logging in and then disappearing. They can be roaming around the house and not listening to your class. Difficulties. But to ask them to come when the virus is there is also dangerous. So we have to learn adaptability. We have to learn adjustment. These are all qualities which make human beings better. We never teach these things. We only teach how to get marks in the examination. I remember some students coming and telling me, Madam, in English, we got 90 marks in UG, but we can't speak one sentence of English. Imagine on the memo, 90 marks. In real life, 0 marks. Absolute 0. Because they can't speak English. Therefore, we have to remember that from these 3 stories, we can easily apply to our attitudes and behavior. The student's attitude and behavior, the teacher's attitude and behavior changes the entire society, because everybody begins life as a student, remains a lifelong student, and everybody becomes a teacher at some point or the other, even if your job is not a teaching job. So for this teaching for excellence, yesterday's date is very important, and we should remember it always that whatever we do, if we do with the right attitude and carry out with the right behavior, then of course it will be excellent. I hope I have been able to share some ideas with you. My throat is very bad, therefore